I just want to be clear. If you're actually too retarded to understand that when the judge that is overseeing your case literally thinks that you are likely to win on the merits, that is an indication. That is an indication that you are winning the case, and the other side is losing. I don't like that's a completely fair description of any court case. I think any reasonable person would see it, and the fact that you don't want to acknowledge that because you just want to like die in this like arbitrary hill, like I don't. It's such an easy point to concede, bro. Hi guys, thank you for watching this video. Make sure to like and subscribe if you want to see any future content. Also, make sure to follow my socials in the description. And if you want to debate sometime, just add me on TikTok and send me a DM. Thank you. Bhuma Patel, what's up, man?
I'm good, bro. How are you?
Good. HM State, who'd you vote for?
25, Florida. And voted for the American hero, Donald Trump.
Yeah. Do you think Donald Trump hates your speech?
Say again?
Do you think Donald Trump hates free speech?
Yes and no.
Yes and no. How do you hate free speech and not hate free speech? Huh?
I think he likes it for himself, but hates it for everybody else.
You know what? I agree with that. Do you still support him?
I mean, I wouldn't say support. That's a strong word. I still like some of his policies, not all of them.
I don't like. Can you give me an equivalent of like on the Democratic side of like Donald Trump, going to Harvard and Columbia and literally saying, and taking away their SEVP certification ability to enroll students and their federal funding because they're promoting certain types of speech on their campus, or not even promoting, but allowing certain types of speech on their campus?
He went to, say that again, he went to a campus? Can you speak just a
Harvard,
little bit louder?
and Columbia. He went to their campuses and basically said, hey, if you guys don't promote this certain type of speech that the government endorses, and you suppress this type of speech and beliefs that the government doesn't like, we are going to take away your federal funding, and we're going to take away their SEVP certification, which allows them to enroll international students. And when Harvard didn't comply, then they took it away. And Harvard then sued them, and they're currently winning in court against the Trump administration on that exact ground. So could you give me like something that's equivalent to the Trump administration doing that?
No, I couldn't give you off the top of my head. I'd have to look
at least on issues free speech, I don't see like why you would ever support Trump, at least over the Democrats or Kamala Harris.
Yeah, specifically with free speech, I don't agree with him on. I think in terms of like other aspects, or like he did pretty well in his first 4 years. That's why I voted for him. He's obviously doing very poorly in the first 9 months of his term. Football is a game of 4 quarters, as you know, so there is 3 more quarters.
So like, why did you vote for him over the Democrats? Exactly.
Yeah, so like I'm more for my beliefs. I'm pro-life. I am against trans ideology, especially in schools. And I know he, maybe not personal beliefs, but I know his team stand up for a lot more Christian values, where Kamala's a nice lady, don't get me wrong. I thought she was a really nice person, but her and Biden had more of a liberal view where it's just like trans are supported. He's been on record saying he supports trans ideology. I think it hurts people. He's been on record.
Could you name like a policy implemented under the Biden administration surrounding at least like social issues like trans stuff that hurt people?
I think the fact that maybe not so much social, but like pumping it into schools and not trying to ban it. Whereas
how did Biden pump it into schools? What did he do?
Just by doing nothing. By allowing schools to do whatever they wanted.
By allowing has Trump done any action did Trump do any action under his first administration? Did he ever advocate for banning it? Was that part of his campaign?
I could probably find quotes where he spoke up against it, yeah.
Just do you care about somebody speaking up against it, like ideologically, or do you care more about somebody doing action?
I mean, policy is good too, but
you can't name any policy points either on Biden or seemingly Trump's side, but then you completely and seemingly fully acknowledge the fact that Trump is actively taking policy action to suppress speech. Like, I think you would care more about somebody taking actions to suppress speech,
I care about
rather than their like individual political beliefs that they're not actually enacting through policy.
That speaks up against it. Let me look up. See, there's a policy. I thought there was a policy.
Do you think it's a little bit concerning that you're having to look up something to justify?
Monologue?
No, I'm asking. Do you think it's a little concerning I have to look up something right now to justify who you voted for in the last presidential election?
Scratch. You've literally not. Let's. By the way, buddy, I debate your brother quite a bit. He is a no offense. Learn from him. He actually stops and lets other people speak. You just
He lets
monologue the
people
whole time.
overtalk him, and when they're being dishonest, okay. And I'm asking a
You
very
just
relevant question. Asking a very relevant question.
Scratch. You
I
don't.
don't.
You're
I
obviously
literally
you're
don't give a
obviously your
fuck, dude.
brother's younger brother
I
because
don't
you
give.
not
I
don't know how to
literally
even
don't
stop
give. I
talking.
don't give a fuck.
Scratch.
Huh?
Scratch. Do you want a debate or not?
I don't give a. I don't give a fuck about like me
Scratch.
over
You're
talking.
being just a bit of an idiot now by just talking over everybody. So I'm
No,
gonna
no, I'm
drop.
not.
But learn to debate next time because you're very poor at it.
Interrupting is an integral part
You're
of
very
debate.
poor at it, bro.
Huh?
Dude, you're just not very good at debating.
Do you think? I just want
It's
to
just
say. Do you think
called
coming? Do you think
monologuing
coming up
means?
here? Wait. Do you
Yeah,
think coming?
again,
I just want to
you
ask you.
talked
Do you
over me
think
like
coming up
15
here, not
times.
having
Anyway,
any kind of
you're kind of
policy
a
to
bitch
support
at
why you
debating, bro.
voted for
Just learn to
somebody,
be
not
better
having
at
any
debating.
policy for why you voted for somebody, and then when you're losing the debate, say that they're monologuing them. I'm monologuing. Do you think that's winning a debate? You think you're winning in that scenario? When you come up here and can't give me a single policy justification for why you voted for somebody in the last presidential election, and you have to look it up, and then telling me I'm monologuing, do you think that's winning a debate? Yeah, bro just left. Make democracy great. Let's see if you actually come up here. Robert, AGM State, who'd you vote for?
28 Trump.
Are you the same person?
No.
Yeah.
You have an echo, by the way.
I have what?
You have an echo, like a
Oh,
reverb.
it's not an echo.
Oh, okay.
It's a TikTok. Okay, wait.
Okay.
Okay. Do you think that Trump hates free speech?
Free speech, no.
Yes. No. Okay. Do you think that somebody who says he's going to take away the visa status of immigrants who go out and protest, which is protected under the First Amendment and is a form of free speech, do you think that person probably dislikes free speech?
Can I flip the question back on you
Yeah,
as
go ahead,
someone
man.
who was actually an international student? Do you think that international students have complete First Amendment rights?
No.
Okay, so where is that reservation?
They have the right. They do have the right to protest, though, and that
on anything and do everything.
yes.
I mean, yeah, they have the right to.
As long as they're not,
I mean,
as long as
everyone
they're not providing material support to any like terrorist organization, or they're not committing some kind of crime during the protest, they have the full right to protest.
You'll then recall that the Trump administration specifically outlined.
I was talking about a specific.
They were of the opinion that the individuals were supporting Hamas.
Yeah, so I was talking about a specific quote that Donald Trump made at a sponsors dinner, where he said that he's going to take away the visa status of immigrants who go out and protest. He didn't say violent protest. He didn't say if they do it in committing a crime. He just said protest.
Can you find that full quote for me?
Yes.
Please? So what did he say before that? What did he say after that kind of thing? I think that's going to provide additional context that we actually need.
Give me a sec. One thing I do is any student that protests, I throw them out of the country. You know, there's a lot of foreign students. As soon as they hear that, they're going to behave. That's a quote.
Could you read the quote again? Sorry.
Yeah, one thing I do is any student that protests, I throw them out of the country. You know, there's a lot of foreign students. As soon as they hear that, they're going to behave.
Okay, so protest about what? Like, what are we insinuating? Like, right? Because it's not just any type of protest.
He just
I'm
said
assuming
protests. There's
you
no.
and I can. I'm assuming you and I can specifically kind of point, like, pinpoint exactly what he's talking about in that instance, right?
He's just talking about protests in general and
He's not just
immigration
talking about
tax.
protest. He's not just
Yes.
talking about protests in general.
Did,
No.
what other
Because
context
what,
to that?
what did
What
the
other
federal,
context of that quote would
what
say
did the
that?
federal government do, right, initially when they stepped in, right? You specifically mentioned they stopped the SEV program, and it's actually the CVIS program, SEVIS.
No, this is the SEVP program specifically.
Yeah,
That's that's certification for schools, but I'm not talking about that. That's a different situation at Harvard.
so
I'm talking about. I'm asking you about what specific context around the quote that I just mentioned would give you the impression that was anything but just protests.
so let's look up what the law actually says, right?
Can you answer that
So
question?
so I'll ask you. Yeah, I mean, they're allowed to do this, right? Like,
No.
why aren't they allowed to?
Immigrant.
To
So okay, what is the
why aren't
supreme?
they
What is
allowed
the
to revoke
supreme? What is the
visas?
supreme law of the land
What
in the United? What is the supreme law of the land in the United
why
States? Just real quick.
Constitution? My bad.
The Constitution. Great. Okay.
Yeah.
You
So-
acknowledge that immigrants, including ones here on visas, student visas, have First Amendment rights, specifically the right to protest.
Well, so I literally asked you a simple question: do they have complete First Amendment rights? Right? There's a difference.
Yeah, and
When-
I literally said no, they don't, but they still, and then I said that, but the restriction in First Amendment
So-
rights doesn't take away their right to protest. So
No,
whatever
any-
restriction,
anyone
so no, I
has-
just want to be clear. I just want to be clear. The restriction that you're trying to like butt in here is irrelevant to what we're talking about. I just want to be very clear.
How is it irrelevant when we can look at the actions of his administration, what actually got implemented, right?
It's irrelevant because immigrants still have
Because
the right
he's
to
not just
protest, and I'm
speaking-
talking about the specific quote, and you're trying to bring other things into it that aren't relevant to the specific argument I'm trying to make. That's why. So once again, do you acknowledge that immigrants have the right to protest?
Restricted, yes.
How is it restricted? In what sense?
So for example, right, like what is allowed is an international student on a visa in the U.S. is legally allowed to attend protest rallies and demonstrations as long as they're peaceful and lawful, right?
Correct. Yes.
When-
No, we already went over this.
Now,
of course.
Now, obviously, right? We have brains over here, right? Let's just not like assume.
Okay.
He's saying
So
some type
I'm glad we acknowledge they have the right. They have that right. Okay. So you also, I'm pretty sure when you say look at the law, you're talking about the fact that the Trump administration has broad discretion to take away immigrant status.
for certain students who have done certain actions. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. But you acknowledge that they can't take away
people
people's
agree with that,
status
though.
for they can't take away people's
Hold on, hold
status
on.
for things that are
Correct.
protected under
have
the
to-
Constitution. You would also acknowledge that, correct?
We have to establish a baseline, right?
Okay.
You'll agree that there has been a specific action that this administration has undertaken, which has been temporarily pausing or revoking certain visas of individuals who were found at certain protests. Correct?
Yeah. I don't know how that's relevant to the specific quote though.
Well, it's 100% relevant, right? Because you're specifically talking in general terms, as Trump generally does. But you and I both know we judge it based off of the actions of an administration.
I think the
And you're
actions.
trying to
Remember,
negate- you're trying to
the
negate
statement I'm
those
talking about is that
actions
Trump
by the
hates free
administration,
speech.
right?
The
And so
statement.
that's
The
what I'm
wait.
trying
Just
to
give me.
highlight.
Just give me a sec.
So-
The
so
statement.
for
I'm this.
example-
The actual prompt. The actual prompt is about Trump's belief that Trump hates free speech. It's we
Okay.
can use actions and quotes. So what I'm trying to do and what you're trying to do is say, hey, look at the broad action or look at what the administration's doing because they're confined by the law. And I'm like, okay, but look at what Trump is actually saying. And I want to completely focus on that. So we acknowledge, okay, Trump in his quote doesn't make a distinction between protests and protests were just violence. He just said protests, and he's saying he's going to take away the status of immigrants. That is wholly and completely unconstitutional. You can't just take away the status for immigrants doing First Amendment for doing protests because that's protected under the First Amendment.
So, okay. So you are aware of the type of visa status that international students generally hold, right?
Yes.
So you'll agree that they are conditional. Yes?
Yes.
Meaning that they can they can be revoked.
Yes, but
Right,
they can't
so-
be revoked
so-
for unconstitutional reasons.
All right. So when this administration took away, right, international students' status, right,
Yes.
their visas, why did they say that they were taking them away?
Why did they say they were taking
They
them
gave a
away?
reason. They gave a reason, right? And you're talking to someone who's actually been on an international student visa, which is why I love.
Well,
this
they would
topic.
say to the what they would say to the courts, and they
Yeah.
would say to the law that, oh, we're taking them away because they're promoting violence, or they're giving some kind of like or actually no, they wouldn't even say, no, they wouldn't even say that, no, because with the Mukmak Khalil one specifically, it was like 6-7. They would just say they have broad discretion to deport them. That's all they would say.
Well, with that individual that you're specifically referencing, right? The administration actually was under the impression, and they tried to legally prove that he was actually supporting the H group.
That's
Which
actually
is
not true. If you read the actual court, that's not true. If you read the court documents, they specifically say that he's not acting within the interest of the United States, and that the Secretary of State then has the ability to deport them on broad
Right,
discretion.
and
They
they
don't say that
specifically-
once, but they're not saying that he was part of Hamas. That's not what they didn't even try and prove that in court.
They did, right? Because they said, right, the interest of the United States by referencing the H group,
No,
right? That's
they
what
actually
they're-
they net if you I wait
when they
just
revoke
to
the
be clear,
visa.
wait, just to be clear. Have you ever looked over Mahmoud Khalil's case? Like, just be honest.
No. I
I've read the
haven't
court.
looked
I
at-
have. I've actually read the
I've
court
heard-
documents. That's why I can tell you things like
Okay.
when he was initially arrested, and this was just found out a little bit ago. He didn't even have they didn't have a warrant, administrative or judicial, right? And at the same, and he still had his legal permanent residency at the same time, right?
Right.
So if you look at the actual court documents, they're not saying he's part of Hamas. He's saying that him being at the protest and him specifically spouting the beliefs that he was spouting was very specific, was against the interest of the United States. And under the INA, there's a clause, I think it's like 637, under the section about like what makes an immigrant deportable, that allows them to revoke their status and then deport them. And the judge ruled that that specific thing violated, and that's why Mukmak Khalil got released, violated his First Amendment rights.
So, in that court case, right, it
Yes.
literally talks about the administration using a rarely used provision of immigration law, right, that's authorized under whatever position Rubio has, that allows for the removal of non-citizens who present or actions are considered to have serious adverse foreign policy consequences, right? That is literally what is what
Okay,
is there.
that doesn't.
I
I just
don't-
want to
I
be.
don't
I
know
just
why-
want to be. I want to
Yeah.
be very. I want to be very clear. That doesn't mean you're not against free speech. Okay, and that also doesn't mean you're doing it for reasons in Hamas. That could just
I-
that simply
I
means like
agree,
you
I agree.
right. The administration's reason was Mukmak Khalil was promoting ideology which is adverse to the United States. That ideology and him
which
promoting
is-
it is still
which-
protected. Is still protected under the First Amendment. That's what the judge said. That's why Mukmak Khalil got released. And them doing that action is against the First Amendment. I think absolutely in that case demonstrates that they are against free speech.
Yeah, so I look, I agree that international students can practice free speech with limitations, right? I think we both agree on that, right? And I think this administration has been very consistent that unlike other previous administrations, they're actually going to enforce immigration law and hold it to the highest standards, right? That's simply what this administration is doing, regardless of how you want to look at it, right? Because you can still have international students protest, right? And they face no consequences as long as it's lawful and as long as it's peaceful.
But they did face consequences. Mukmak Khalil faced consequences when he was lawfully
But
protesting.
we know why.
the
because
the
administration
international
believed-
the Muslim girl
Yeah.
who simply wrote in a newspaper an article detesting Israel, not promoting any violence, not promoting anything like that. She got punished for using her free speech. Harvard, in general, got punished for using and allowing people to use their free speech. Trump,
Wait, so
the quote that I read to you from Trump,
so
the quote that I read you, the quote that I read you, the quote that I read you from Trump was him advocating to do unconstitutional actions. That's the thing that you're not understanding right now.
Okay, just a point of clarification. Khalil's case hasn't been dropped, first and foremost.
Yeah, that's
Right.
not what I said.
Well, you said he lost the case. The administration lost the case.
No, I said they were losing the case.
How are they losing? How do you lose a case on an
So
ongoing?
losing versus lost
On
a
a-
case. When I say
yeah.
when I say someone is losing a case, that usually means a couple things. It means a couple of things. At least in this situation, one, Mukmak Khalil has been released. right? Because because his
From where?
detainment was
From
unfair.
where?
Huh?
From detention.
From
right?
detention,
the
correct?
detention
Because
facility,
the
right?
judge determined that his release was restricting his First Amendment rights, and two, they issued a preliminary injunction against the Trump administration and for what they're doing. And in a preliminary injunction, that means the judge thinks that you are likely to win on the merits of the case. So that's what I mean that when someone is losing a case, if once a preliminary injunction is usually issued, that means the judge is literally saying you probably have the better position in
Yeah,
this
but
legal battle.
that's not the reason they let him out of the detention facility, right? There was two reasons. One, it was that he posed no flight risk or risk of leaving the United States, and then the second one, what was the second reason why? Yeah, I'm blanking on the second
The
reason.
preliminary injunction and the free speech.
But yeah, the second reason is that they
Yes.
found that there was no convincing evidence that Khalil posed like a flight risk, right? And so
You just repeated yourself, but okay.
right, I realized that, right? Like that was the main reason. I thought there were two, but that's the
There were.
main reason why he was allowed to be released, right? They don't rule on anything else in those.
That you didn't contest like anything I just said. When
Right, because- because
you
it's-
understand when a preliminary injunction is issued, that means the judge is saying you're likely to win in the merits of the case. You acknowledge that.
Can you repeat that?
When a preliminary injunction is issued in your favor, that means that the judge suspects that you're going to win on the merits of the case. You acknowledge that, correct?
Sure.
Okay, so when
I
it's
mean,
issued,
I'm not-
so
I
when
don't even know-
Muhammad Khalil has a
I
preliminary
don't
injunction
even
issued
know if
against the
I can
government in their favor,
Yeah.
that it's an indication that the Trump administration is losing the case. Correct?
No.
That's not
no.
a fair thing to look at. No,
No, the legal definition of why why an injunction actually takes place is grounded in the First Amendment, right? Which in that instance, or his instance, it's specifically asserting that Khalil's detention likely violated his speech.
Oh my
rights.
God, okay, that's such a red herring to what I was talking about. If the judge who is overseeing your case thinks that you are likely to win on the merits, is that probably an indication that you're winning your case?
It's neither, right? It's specific. It's a specific.
If the judge of the case that is overseeing your case thinks that you are likely to win in the merits, that's not an indication you are winning your case?
No, right? Because he's facing separate deportation proceedings still, right? Which is the main overarching theme of which this administration wants.
That's not what I said. I never said he wasn't still facing deportation proceedings. I never said that the case was over. I just said that when the judge who is overseeing your specific case, says that you are likely to win in the merits, that means that you are winning that current court case. I think anybody can agree to that.
It doesn't mean that he's right. You can have many certain injunctions that are specifically ruled upon, right? Like, so for example, right, you can get arrested for DUI, right? And then you're going to see a judge, and the judge will basically say whether you can get released or whether you're going to stay in jail, right? Like there's many different reasons for it, and you're just
You
like
literally
negating it.
you already acknowledged that when a preliminary injunction is issued, which is different than Muhammad Khalil getting released. Remember, both happened. Preliminary injunction and he got released. When preliminary injunction is issued, it is also one of the reasons, or one of the things that has to be demonstrated, is that you're likely to win on the merits of the case. And when a judge grants you that, that means they think that you are going to win on the merits of that case. And that is an indication if you're winning. So I don't know why you keep going back to he got released from prison. That's definitely one of the things that's an indication. But the main thing is the preliminary injunction, because that means that the judge thinks that you are likely to win the case.
We'll agree to disagree on that, right?
My fucking God. Are you like if you're I just want to be clear, if you're actually too retarded to understand that when the judge that is overseeing your case literally thinks that you're likely to win on the merits, that is an indication that you are winning the case and the other side is losing. I don't like that's a completely fair description of any court case. I think any reasonable person would be able to see it. And the fact that you don't want to acknowledge that because you just want to like die in this like arbitrary hill, like it's such an easy point to concede, bro. Like, come on, dude. It's so dishonest. Okay. Well, I hope you can acknowledge the fact that Trump's quote that I read out, just taken as it is against the Constitution. I hope you understand that. Robert?
It's an immigration law matter, right? Like, is what you're
Oh
specific.
my gosh. If the quote that Trump said is against the Constitution, because he's not specifying violent protests. He's just saying protests in general, and he's saying he's going to get rid of status of immigrants for expressing rights that are protected under the Constitution.
Dude, most people can use reasoning, and you're trying.
I literally just used reasoning to tell you why it's
No,
unconstitutional.
you've been smiling at it because you know that you're not using reasoning. Right?
I always
Like,
smile.
it's
I
like-
smile constantly.
It's like Trump saying, "Oh, Jerome Powell should be fired." Oh, we know why Jerome Powell should be fired, right? We know why he's saying Jerome Powell should be fired, right? It's not just like
He's calling, like, we know he's called for many different things, and we know based off of what Trump has said about these protests why he specifically made that reference, right? You'll agree with that. You have to. Like, if you're a logical individual, you have to agree with it. If not, then so be it. But
Yeah, Trump literally says Jerome Powell should be fired, and if he could, I guarantee he would.
so let me
Once again, this is kind of problem. There's two levels. There's two levels to the argument. There's what does Trump believe in? If Trump had the power to, he would absolutely violate those people's free speech. That's completely true. And in two, what is he legally bound to? And in three, even though he's legally bound to, like, still support these guys' rights, he's still violating them. He still violated Mukmak Khalil's rights. He still violated the girl who, like, wrote an op-ed against Israel. He still violated Harvard and Columbia's First Amendment rights.
no, right? That's not what the court ruled, right? It might be what you feel, but it's not what the court ruled, buddy.
The court issued a preliminary injunction against the Trump administration in the Harvard case too.
Yeah, what was the reasoning then?
Because they were going after their First Amendment rights.
dude, this is wild.
This is not wild. This is the actual court case. Do you know anything?
Yes, I know that, right? When you specifically talk about the injunction, right, you're being biased in the way that you speak about it, which is sad, right? Because
I'm
this
not.
is
That's exactly. The judges were. I can probably actually pull it up
Okay.
here. It's pretty bad.
Yeah, pull up his actual wording where he says.
No, I'll pull up the judge's wording. It's not good.
That's what I'm referencing, right? Pull up the judge's wording where he specifically says that.
It's a
right,
she, by the way, you misogynistic pig. But
Okay. My bad. Yeah, that doesn't make you misogynistic, right? Making a mistake.
it's a joke.
Democrat.
Calm down.
I know.
Okay.
But yeah, you'll have to, like, at least see that side of things, right? I mean, you
The
can.
government's
you can
misplaced
think-
efforts to control a reputable academic institution and squelch diverse viewpoints, seemingly because they are, in some instances, opposed to administration overview, threaten these rights. To make matters worse, the government's attempt to accomplish this, at least in part, on the backs of international students with little of thought to the consequences of them, or ultimately to his own citizens. And George Washington said, if freedom of speech is taken away, then dumb and silent we may be led, like sheep to the slaughter. George Washington addressed to the officers of the army accordingly. For those reasons said above, the plaintiff's motion for a preliminary injunction is granted. Like, I'm just right here. The judge was explicitly saying they're granting it because of free speech reasons.
Wait, can you read that free speech part?
If free speech is taken away, then dumb and silent we may be led, like the sheep to the slaughter. George Washington. The judge cites George Washington talking about why free speech is important, and in the last paragraph of the preliminary injunction before they say it's granted. I think that's pretty damning for the Trump administration. Do you not?
I mean, I think it's more of a legality basis, right? Because wait, did the Trump administration specifically reference? Wait, what does the Harvard case have to do with free speech, though?
The entire case is over free speech. Because
No.
what the Trump administration was doing is saying, okay, you need to suppress these certain viewpoints on your campus, really pro-Palestinian ones, and then Harvard said, fuck off, and then they took away their federal funding and SEVP certification.
Wait, I thought it was that they didn't want to provide the information of individuals.
No, if you
under
actually,
the
that was
SEVP
part
program.
there's actually two parts of the case. So there's the free speech
Okay.
part, and then there's the there's like violations of administrative rules. If you actually look, I actually went through and I looked through it. Harvard literally provided everything the administration asked. Literally everything. You can go read the emails. They're posted in their own.
I was under the impression that it was because of the like not providing
Yeah,
information.
you got lied to by Trump administration. They tend to do
Well,
that.
I didn't get.
But I
lied
want to
to.
be very clear.
Didn't look
Even if
further into it.
the Trump administration's stated goal, right, is we're doing this because because we're scared that certain people are international threats to the country. They're doing them doing that and then doing it with a careless disregard for the violations of free speech that they consistently do along the way is still to my point. It still proves they don't care about free speech. The Trump administration doesn't care and doesn't respect these people's free speech. It's obvious in their actions. They consistently violate them. We have multiple court cases in which they are winning on this exact thing, right? We have Trump himself expressing the viewpoint of literally violating these students' First Amendment rights when it comes to protesting. Like, it's so obvious, blatant, it's in your face. But Trump literally said, literally doubled down on Pam Bondi's comments, like not even a couple days ago about hate speech.
Yeah, I'm finding it funny because
You just sit there and laugh when I like give you all the facts and like, there's just not enough context, bro, and like, something random, bro.
I think it's crazy. I think it's crazy to say that an administration is anti-free speech just because they're looking out for the interests of its national interest.
They're doing it in a way that violates free speech. Yes, they don't care. If they cared enough, they care to take the time to make sure they're not violating people's fucking rights when they make sure to look out for the interests of the American people.